Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary, where I do the research to try to teach you a little something about what you're drinking. Tonight we're going to be talking about a Kentucky Straight Bourbon called Eagle Rare. This is aged 10 years, bottled to 90 proof by the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and it was good enough to make my definitive beginner bourbon buying list. So let's get into it. If this is your first time with me and you like reviews, getting informed, or generally enjoy whiskey, then click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. But allow me one little sidetrack here. So this is actually my 50th episode. And yes, I know. Thank you. So I just wanted to thank everybody who is here watching this episode, because you guys have helped me to grow this channel, and it's awesome. I do this for you and I do it for me, and I enjoy the heck out of it. So thank you. That being said, let's talk about the whiskey. Now, this whiskey used to be 101 proof. Actually, for 30 years it was. It came out in 1975, and around 2005 they switched over to the 90 proof. Now, why they did that? I think that they probably just maybe changed up the mash bill a little bit. They ended up being acquired a few times. It went from Sazerac to the Buffalo Trace Distillery now. So I think things just changed. That being said, it is now 90 proof, and frankly, I think that's a good place for it to be. It tastes really good. So one really cool thing to know about this whiskey is it's actually probably likely that the bottle you have is a single barrel. Now, they can't call it a single barrel because at the end of every barrel, they, let's say they're only half full, they'll pour the next barrel in there, which I'm not entirely sure why they do that, because frankly, this could be a single barrel. They could charge a little bit more. Maybe that's why. Maybe they'd prefer to keep this a lower price. For that reason, this is a better whiskey than you will get for other whiskeys of this similar price. This is around 30 bucks. And for a $30 bourbon, that is essentially a single barrel bourbon, you're really doing well for this thing. Anyway, so another thing about the whiskey is that Eagle Rare actually has this really cool charity program, and they call it Eagle Rare Life. And every year they pick somebody who lives a rare life. Basically, it's usually somebody who contributes or volunteers or does something amazing, and they'll donate 50 grand to that person's choice of charity. And I just think that's something worth giving them credit for. Let's get into the nosing and the tasting. All right, so getting into the nosing and the tasting. Let me pour myself a dram here. And one thing you'll note, it's another whiskey where the second you open that bottle, you're hit with the nose already. So I will save what I picked up immediately off of this for the actual nosing. And here we go. So one of the first things that you get is that this is 90 proof. Now, it's not a burn like, with Booker's or something like a Wild Turkey, but it is definitely not an 80 proof whiskey, and you can tell that. Now, some of the things I'm really picking up out of here are toffee, actually comes very strong. Oak comes across, but it's actually not as strong as a lot of other bourbons, which is nice, because frankly, oak just takes over most bourbons' nose, and honestly, it's not that welcome to me personally. So I also get some orange zest in here, which I think is cool. That's not super common. And then you get honey, which is fairly common as well. And then leather. And leather is something you don't get as much either. So I would say it's really overpowered with the toffee, the orange, and the leather. So let's go into the tasting. Cheers. So as far as the tongue goes, let's say it's very dry, and that is because of the higher alcohol content. That being said, it's also very, I guess, thick or viscous would be the right word. Now, I would imagine if I poured this next to something else that was like 80 proof, it really wouldn't look that much different. But the slightly higher alcohol content really gives us a little bit more body to it. And maybe that's the proper word to use. It's got a full body. So think of like a really rich wine. It's great. All right, so then you're also getting oak, and personally, I got both almonds and cocoa in this. And those are two things I don't think I've really tasted in a bourbon before. So I'm gonna have to find some icons for that, because I don't think I've ever done that before. Anyway, so what I would recommend for this whiskey is that you go buy a bottle. I think that this is a whiskey that you will truly enjoy, and you may even want to share this with your friends. So One thing I've said on here before is that I do not do number ratings. I just always find them to be a bit contrived. And most things, unless it's like Pappy or whatever, just end up being mid-80s, and frankly, it just, to me personally, it doesn't mean a lot. I mean, I've never seen anything score a 40 before, you know, it's whatever. So what I'm gonna do instead is I have my own little rating. I'm gonna do a stock it, which is something so good or possibly so cheap and good that you should just always keep it on hand. Then buy it, which is actually what I'm going to recommend for this guy, which is something that I feel is good enough to warrant whatever the price tag actually is. So that can kind of vary. You know, I mean, I might say Booker's for whatever reason is worth buying. And I mean, that's going to be an $80 bottle versus this one, which is a $30. But in my mind, they're both things that you should buy. Then there is Try It, which if you're at a bar or if you are at a friend's house, you should definitely consider trying, and you may actually like it enough to go buy a bottle yourself. And then there's Ignore It, and that's reserved for things like Black Velvet or you know, Johnny Walker Red, or you know, a few other things that I'll try on this channel, which will mostly be jokes, I'm sure. So that's my rating system, and this thing is a solid buy to me. I think you should go out tomorrow, or actually today, because this will be coming out on a Friday, go out tonight and go get a bottle of this. And you know, come back, rewatch the video, try it with me. Tell me in the comments what you like, nose and taste. And let's see if your notes compare to mine. All right, so that does it for this episode of the Whiskey Dictionary. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope that you've learned a little something, and at the very least, I hope you enjoyed this review. So thank you once again for helping me get to 50 videos. It's awesome. I look forward to the next 50. You may have noticed I'm doing more video uploads every month now. I'm doing at least 4. This one will actually be number 5 for the month of September. So once again, thank you for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers.